lady from New York, Ms. Ocasio-Cortez. You're recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. And I'd like to emphasize some of the remarks that the Ranking Member Grijalva made in the opening of this hearing, which is really lining out the differences between the folks who are identifying solutions and those who are not. I'd like to submit to the congressional record, rather the record of the committee, two statements from what is known as the Common Sense Caucus in the New York City Council, I believe of which Councilmember Arriola is a member. The first is a statement on the migrant crisis, and the second is a statement on Secretary Mayorkas as well.
Without objection.
Now, Councilmember Arriola, it says here, that you've got this statement is in opposition to work permits and work authorizations for newly arrived asylees. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So you are in opposition, and in this letter it says, quote unquote, the migrants who have recently arrived in New York should follow the lawful immigration process. Does that sound familiar to you?
Yes, it is.
Are you aware that seeking asylum is a lawful immigration process?
When it is deemed to be asylum.
Yes.
It has not yet been deemed to be
And
asylum seekers.
are you aware that application, you have to arrive in the United States in order to apply for asylum, correct?
That
so
is correct.
Arrival is also part of that lawful process. I'd like to highlight that. And so when we oppose work authorization, we have folks who are opposing the ability for people who are seeking a lawful process to support themselves, who don't want to be a strain on public systems. And we've got folks who want to block people from being able to follow the same American dream that almost every person here, their family comes from. Folks coming here with nothing but the shirt on their back and getting a job and supporting a family. We've got folks who want to deny that. On the federal level, we have folks who oppose comprehensive immigration reform. We're cutting funding, not just to our national park services, but to our overall supportive services. We're on the brink of a shutdown right now so that none of these things can get processed in the first place. And then, while we're in this process of opposing work authorizations, I think it's important to note that these systems are being overwhelmed in the first place because of large parts of contributions to solve this problem. If we are serious about addressing this issue, we need to also make sure that we're opening and allowing people to be documented. And I can't for the life of me understand why there is such partisan opposition to doing this. I mean, truly. And in addition to that, we also need to be assessing the foreign policy decisions that we are making that are driving people to our southern border in the first place. There is so much rhetoric out here blaming other countries and their dysfunctions for why people are coming to the United States when we are engaging in interventionist policy abroad and when our sanctions in Latin America are part of the picture here. So we're either going to agree to those things and take on the responsibility of the consequences, or we're going to reassess our policy. It is outrageous to be using the city of New York, where, by the way, these asylum seekers, their kids are enrolling in school. Those who can seek work are doing it right away. That, by the way, they're trying to fill labor needs that we have long had as a city and state. We should be paving the pathways to make this as easy as possible. And perhaps we wouldn't need, and perhaps there wouldn't be a Floyd Bennett Field situation if people were actually supporting a smooth system here. Assemblymember Williams, I didn't hear in your testimony, I understand the concerns you're raising about the field. I didn't hear in your testimony the alternative sites you've advocated for. Could you remind me of which those are?
The alternative sites to house migrants?
The alternative site to Floyd Bennett Field.
Well, in the conversation, as we know,
I'm sorry, I only have 18 seconds. Which are the sites that you propose as an alternative?
I don't have a proposal.
So you don't have a proposal alternative? No proposed alternative. No solutions here. No ideas here. But Democrats, we're authorizing 500,000 work permits so people can get on their feet and support themselves. Democrats, we're proposing comprehensive immigration reform. Democrats, we're talking about saying, let's reassess our foreign policies so that people aren't fleeing and making sure that we aren't participating in the destabilization of what's happening abroad. And all I'm hearing right now is that we're not being met in the middle. No support, no path to citizenship, no identified alternatives, just grievances. We need to get it together and make sure that we're getting on the right page. And if the ideas being presented here in this committee are being disagreed with, I'd like to see some actual functional alternatives that center and preserve the dignity of both people who are coming here to fulfill an American dream and the American citizens here who want to support them. And with that, I yield back to the chair. Thank you.
Gentlelady's time's
Chair.
expired. The chair now recognizes
Chair, may I just respond with permission, please?
maybe the next person asking a question will yield you time.